All right. Well, welcome everyone. We are here. It is Super Millions. It is season 2023, episode 8. We are joined by Luke Greenwood, who may be having some technical difficulties right now, so bear with us. But the good news is he's world class. He will be here today. We will be calling the action. We're going to get his audio sorted out. Luke, can you hear me or not right now? Okay, I don't think he can hear me right now, guys. But the good news is it's a big final table. It's big prizes. It's a monster day, as always, here. Every Tuesday, 2:45 p.m. Eastern, you know we're in for a treat. Big names, big prizes, the GG Super Millions. We are going to take a look at who is at the table today. We're going to take a look at what they're playing for, and, of course, the super rankings in the every week position. It is important because there's big prizes will be awarded at the end of the season. There's a look, my man, Raw, still in the lead with that 1,584,000, does hold down the current leaderboard position of the super rankings, and of course 1,620,000 in the prize pool today. Lot to play for, and we are going to see some familiar faces as well. As look at that, $329,000 US going to first place. So an absolute monster prize pool. Everyone guaranteed 47,000. And of course, we will play to a winner today. We'll have some prizes for you. Got the hands up promo where we will talk about, as well as I have a giveaway on my Twitter. And of course, $50 or $100 for you guys at the end of the show. And we do look at some of the biggest names in poker. You got Anatoly Filatov there, Barack Wizbrod, and the man from Argentina. They win the World Cup. They got the chip leader in the Super Millions this week with 96 big blinds. And you can see Barack with 2 final tables so far this season, and some familiar faces as well as new faces here today. So it's going to be a delight. I can tell you Luke's figuring out his stuff. We had just done a test. It was working, but technical difficulties do happen. Good news is he's here. He'll be joining us. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you. Let us know where you're watching from. We're going to dive right into the action. We're going to see who's going to beat the best today. Who is it going to be? And another man, that name, Nicholas Osted, how can you not mention him? He's got the green tag on GG. He has won some of the more prestigious events. I believe a 5-time Super Million winner, if I'm not mistaken. I know in season 2 alone, he has 3 wins under his belt. Anatoly Filatov also with the win in 8 final tables, 14 final tables for Nicholas. Spays, no win season 2, but 9 final tables. A very experienced player as well. So it's my pleasure to dive into the action. We're gonna see who gets it done today, and we will be announcing some prizes for you, as well as the hands up promo should get pinned shortly. Thank you for being here. And Luke is, yes, Sam and Luke Greenwood, 2 of the more talented poker players in the world. They happen to be brothers, and they are going to hopefully both be on the show. We do have Luke today, and again, he's going to get that sorted out here, and we will get him on with us as we pick up the action. Ace Jack suited, King 10 off, and a nice turn. The taxi cab, Brock Wizbrod going to pair the king on the turn, 6-7 deuce, 2 spades. And it is a interesting spot where Nicholas, certainly not going anywhere. It's got the nut flush draw and over, and hello. That's if you're one of the best in the world, that's one of the best rivers you can get. You do pair the ace. A quick check back from Brock. Just decides not really a point to bet there. He's going to see the bad news. Still has 2.5 million, and he is your current second place stack, Sentimento, of course, on 4.5 million. I believe we may get Luke here back in a second. I think he's just getting his mic queued up. Another Brazilian. I say it every week. Brazil has a representation at the final table. It feels every week. Appreciate you all being here. Thanks for tuning in. We have got 300 on at the start. We're going to put the hands up promo as well. And we are already seeing, look at this, a little bit of a light 3-bet here, ace 10 off, small blind, telling Nicholas, hey man, you're raising the chip leader. I got some chips too. We know you're going to be attacking the spot, and King Jack suited. Luke, I wish he does just call. Very interesting spot. You do see some jams on this King Jack suited versus these late position matchups. Curious what Luke would do, and hopefully we'll get him in here in a second. But at the moment, we do see just a flat, and this is one of the powerful things of just flatting is you get to play post flop, right? Your opponent hand like ace 10 off, which is, the semi bluff pre flop. Now all of a sudden it's hard to play this hand. So we do pick up a bet and a call. And with the 3 of spades coming on the turn, let's see, does Barack want to keep telling the story or does he just slow down? So he does slow down, and Nicholas still with king high does not improve to any club or straight draw, just a pure king high. Does he want to take a shot here with his stack?
And I've finally made it. My apologies for the technical difficulties there. I just couldn't hear what Jeff was saying. So this is a pretty interesting hand going on. I just caught the and it looks like Lena is bluffing the turn and successfully pulled it off. Pretty sick hand.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the pre-flop there. What are your thoughts on to jam if you're Lena, or known as Nicholas Ostad? If you were to jam pre-flop, or do you like to call in that spot, or do you kind of mix?
I think it's about 20. How many bigs did he have? Like 30, I guess, or 20? It's pretty close. I think around 20 I would shove as we get deeper. I do probably want to raise non all in. You can even get some 4-bet shoves in potentially with fold equity. And there's a pretty interesting hand here, it looks like. So raise call and he checks back the flop. So Jack 10 looks lucky to get away here without losing a whole lot. I don't know if A7's going to go for value now or check raise. Oh, he just shoves. Yeah, so short pre. Seems fine. There's a whole host of hands that are like always going to check back on the river, including even like bad aces. So I think trying to just make sure you get paid by all the medium hands is good. And that ace 10 hand I thought was pretty interesting pre-flop with Barak. Because it's sort of too loose to 3-bet call and too good to 3-bet fold. So it's right in the middle. And I think flatting seems okay. Queens here. I wouldn't be surprised if he flat calls. I think, yeah, because 50 deep under the gun, not like he wants to get in. Melby will want to get in tens or even jacks pre there, so it's queens with under the ICM stuff. It is a little dicey to play for stacks versus under the gun. You want to see aces and kings and ace king a lot.
Yep. Well, pretty nice flop middle set. King, queen, 4, jack 10 has some nice equity here on a rainbow board. So pretty sure going to just call, and a jack on the turn. Wow. What a card here. I mean, the
Wow.
ace 10 makes the Broadway, and Sentimento's got middle set on the flop, but a little more scary of a board now, although you still got to feel pretty good with the set of queens.
Yeah, I think what queens has a pretty easy call here, assuming, I mean, maybe Melby will go for a check raise. And then Jack 10 should be able to get out of there. Going to be pretty tough for Sentimiento here. I mean, I guess either of them, because if the board pairs, it could be a big pot. An ace or a 10 would slow down the action quite a bit, and the 9. So we're probably going to see ace 10 shove, right? Because to win it all was a 10, and queens will probably get away.
You think he's going to shove? I don't know. I feel like he's going to be a little more. I mean, I guess SPR is 1. It's interesting. I guess you're right. You could go greedy or maybe just try to get paid. But does even a set or 2 pair call like a a bet here. So I guess that's the question. This is why they pay you the big bucks, Luke. This is why you're on there playing the Tritons, the highest stakes in the world, and generally the best play. And here he does go though for not greedy, which in the moment it actually may work out, right? This may be a bet that does somehow get called.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty interesting play. I think Queens probably has to call such a small bet, like maybe two pair you could find the fold, but it wouldn't be impossible for him to have like a set of fours or something there. I think the advantage, I think that's actually a pretty nice play by him because if Sentimiento has a 10, he's probably just going to shove anyway. I think he's going to certainly raise over it. And I also think, just as an aside on some of those 4 straight boards, I think one way that people can, make sure you get paid when you have the nuts, I think, especially with smaller SPRs, even if it's like a spot where it seems really hard to be bluffing, if you just shove the king high straight, you kind of force people to always call with when you have the nuts. So I think especially with such a small SPR, like just getting in any king high straight on the river seems, definitely the play. So shoving it over a block or like raising and reluctantly calling it off, getting like 10-1. So we're going to see raise and a 3-bet. A7 suited could do a lot of things here. Just
Are you up for it? So we got off to a little bit of a late start with the technical difficulty. Are you up for a dinner bet? You want to do a draft, kind of snake draft, red or black, and then we pick some players for a dinner?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that.
All right, I'll let you choose. You get red or black this flop. Next flop.
Okay, I'm going to choose red.
Red. All right, you got red next flop. We might get one here. Let's see, 5-9 suited. Oh, maybe not. Let's see if
not. Yeah. Oh, so
be the next flop if he doesn't. I mean, Sentimento 9-5 suited, little Dolly Parton going out, stepping out, and he's got the chip leader. What do you like 9-handed in this spot? How wide do you think? Is this out of line? You got the button also at 3.3 million. Is this out of your playbook, or do you not like this wide of an open in this spot?
I think it's a little out of line, partially because, and like another thing we missed early is there were a lot of really good players at this final table. Like Anatoly's certainly going to be defending his big blind wide. Easy game we see has come to play, and I think this is a good play. I mean, I don't know what Sentimiento is in the tank for. If you're thinking of just making a play here on a read or whatever, it's pretty sick. I would have pitched the 9-5 suited a long time ago. I mean, it's kind of sick also because I feel like, if they're so shallow, if he really is going to go for it, I think he just has to shove and, take your 25% equity or whatever when you get called. But a good play by Easy Game. I think those with the ICM stuff going on, you particularly like the big offsuit cards like Ace Jack off, King Jack off were really good for bluffing because they're hard to continue on a lot of boards post flop, but then pre-flop, that's what makes them such good bluffing hands because you have the big offsuit cards, you have the blockers, but post flop you're just going to have a lot of spots where like you're going to need to try to show down Ace Jack high as a winner or King Jack high as a winner.
Yeah, makes sense. Interesting though. I mean, Sentimento, we're going to see a theme for the moment, at least, as he is the table captain, the chip leader. Opening as wide as 9-5 suited, definitely the opening King Jack off. We do see the 4s flat.
Okay, so and it's a red card flop too, so you got the pick.
All right, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna start out with my man, the Brazilian Melby Lau. I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of results here, but I'm biased to Brazil, Luke. You know my wife. She's Brazilian. We always, when it's close, I just root for them always. So I'll go with Melby. Now you get 2 picks, and then we'll do 1-1-1-1 all the way down.
All right, I'm going to keep it chalk and take Sentimento. There's no substitute for having a lot of chips, so that's my pick. And then second, I'll pick Nicholas Adstead Lena. He's a good guy, and great player, and I'll show him some love.
All right, man. I feel like I'm kind of getting this is working. I guess I'll go with I'll go with Barack. At some point, I got to take chips too. 1.9. Gonna go with the chalk there as well. And he's a very experienced player, tough player. Had a lot of results here as well. And we'll go with Barack Wisbrod.
Yeah, I've played a lot with Burak, and he's a really tough player. I have a lot of respect for his game.
So who do you got?
Or no, you have to. Do you have to go again?
It goes. We go 1, then 2, then 1 all the way. So yeah, you get to go.
Okay, so now we go on. Okay, got it. So, I'm going to take Super Tutu. Show some love. It's a good screen name, and we got a bit of a action part here. So it goes Morpho raise under the gun and gets defended, and then bet small on the flop and calls a check raise, and now we'll see. I Sentimento might just block again here. He might check. I also think ace queen on the flop probably doesn't need to be betting. It's sort of one of these awkward spots where the big blind's going to have, especially opening under the gun, you have so many unpaired big codes. So you kind of either have an oval pair or like enough flush draw or nothing. And I think especially a hand like that where you can't quite back call it off probably plays off better checking, but playing it the way he did as well is fine and has to fall to the turn bet.
For sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna take. I'm glad I got Anna a double back for Anatoly Filatov, my man, and he is a tough player. Always seems to find his way to the biggest stage. Great guy, representing with GG as well, and just a nice guy, great player. Gonna go with Anatoly. Your pick.
Yeah, solid pick. I'm going to pick Space 411. He's I've played quite a bit with him on GG, and I just seem to remember him often giving me a hard time. So I'll show that respect.
All right, I'm gonna go easy game. That flag, I believe the Austrian flag there. Just seemed Austria, Germany always know what they're doing. There's a Brazilian and Austrian almost every single final table. I think that's a fact. It's like in the terms and conditions for the Super Millions that they will be at the final table. So we'll go with this man, easy game, who has also made 3 cashes in season 3 and 3 in the monies. I think 3 appearances, 3 cashes. So he's batting 100% first final table of the season. And then who do we got left? Is that your pick? Is there
I think I get Morpho, right?
Mafo. Okay, so you'll have 5 all 4, I believe, and that's fine because that's the nature of the draft. Yeah. And look, we're gonna give the audience something. They're gonna either win $50 or $100. So we're gonna give them a few people to sweat. Got to give Nicholas Ostad. He's in green. He's sort of like the online legend of legends. We'll give him the chip leader Sentimento. Brazilian, I got to give him that's Malby, and we'll throw in Anatoly as well. So those 4 players, if one of those 4 win, it's a $100 giveaway for the special keyword. We'll do it at the end of the show. If it's someone else, it'll be 50. So that's what you guys are sweating. And of course, the hands up promotion. Luke, I encourage you to click that link, the pinned YouTube link, because you can guess the winning hand for today. So if it's like ace of diamonds, 10 of hearts, or 5 of clubs, 5 of spades, you got to guess the exact hand, exact suits, and that is what you.
Well, we've been the youngest gross is coming in.
Can you hear my son here or no in the background?
Yes, I can. That's
Joseph, I love you, buddy, but
yeah.
Can't open the door right now. Yeah, he's fired up. He knows Luke's here. He wants to. He's not Luke. He wants to play. He's
Joseph
ready to play.
I think we were at a wedding and Joseph was there and he was the life of the party. He was staying up all night and causing all kinds of chaos, but like not like crying chaos, just being, fun. So yeah, I remember that.
Well, he's banging. Mike for a sec. I'll let you call the commentary. He's fired up. He knows it's a big final table.
Yeah. So we get the limp in the check here. I think it's a pretty good check by Melby. You want to be kind of polar in the big blind, raising over those limps, and You're trapping a lot of king X and 10x. I think Super is playing the hand fine. Now, I expect him to bet the turn here with his gut shot, and Melby's going to call the king high, and then the hand. We'll see what happens on the river. The river will be the interesting one. Does Super 2-2 pull the trigger? And even if he does Melby find the call with king high? I think it's a perfectly reasonable call with king high. Ranges are wide, blind versus blind. You beat a lot of hands like that. I would have liked to see Super 2-2 keep firing on the end there. Not having a diamond in his hand is a big deal, and also there being a 6 and a 7 on board. Like, we are one of the worst sixes, so just folding out like 10-7 and stuff like that is quite a big deal. Another one, raise king queen, and I expect ace 9 off is going to 3-bet here, and then king queen's in a pretty difficult spot. It's one of these for chips where we mostly call and maybe shove a bit, but he just snap folds. I think we need to see him put up a little more resistance, but it is a tricky spot because you have 30 blinds. You don't just want to stick it in. But like, as we saw, if he was brave and found the shove, he would have like won a really big pot, taken down like 500k almost without showdown.
Yeah, so you would probably lean towards shove there, or call? You would have shoved or called.
I think it's close. I'm not sure. I think for chips are mostly calls. I think it's probably a shove. I mean, we're about to see ace queen will get called by ace queen here, so it doesn't look. Oh wait, the eights though in the middle, so he just folds the eights, so now it'll go call. I think the eights is a close spot, but I think you should call there. It's like early position. It's tricky because there's so many people to act behind, but I think you can just call the eights and fold to a rejam. Well, yeah, it's dicey, but I think you just kind of, especially at a 9-handed final table like this, where the stacks are all even-ish, you definitely need to be cautious with the ICM stuff, but you also don't want to be passing up too many opportunities to win chips. And like, when the 8 big blind stack, I assume would shove there with like any PO, so I think you just have to call off the 8s.
Off mute, Joseph. Yeah, came by after school. It's just he's ready. He's ready to rock. So doesn't like being not in the room. But here we go. Ace king, ace jack. Sentimento actually getting off to a bit of a tough start, right? He's trying to kind of run over the table. Of course, people wake up with hands, and he sort of ran into a few times where he's getting played back at, or people have actual hands. So he's getting some resistance. Still chipping up though. He's still finding ways to win some chips, but this is a tricky one. Definitely a tricky one.
Yeah, I like this play by Lena here, 3-betting non-all-in with the ace-king off. I think shove is okay also, but especially to the big blind where you're going to be more polarized. I mean, now it looks like he's going to probably get a double up. So like, it's a great flop for him, but I think Sentimiento shouldn't really be sort of like peeling those sorts of hands. I guess he has so many chips, it doesn't really matter all that much for ICM, but still it's sort of a polar range. And well, I assume so. Nicholas, he checks the queen. I think that's yeah. I think he could either. I think part of the reason why it's a good check is I think most of our bet size here is all in, and it's kind of hard to go all in without having a good hand here. Like, even if you 3-bet from the big blind was early position, often a lot of his bluffs have an ace in them. Wow. So I assume Lena's going to shove, and then I don't know what Sentimiento is going to do. I mean, he might be able to get away from it. It is kind of hard for Lena to be bluffing here, right? Like he 3-bet out of the big blind. We have an ace, we have a king, we have a queen on board. So, what hands is he 3-betting out of the big blind here that don't have anything? Like maybe even jacks is one of them that he could turn into a bluff.
I'm a little surprised he didn't bet the turn. I guess like your point makes sense. It's sort of all in or fold, but like he doesn't have a diamond. I guess I would just think that a hand like ace 10, ace jack, like or diamonds would probably call some bet, and I give free diamonds. But I mean, I see what you're saying though. So I can't really go all in. So yeah, it's sort of a weird one.
Yeah, but I actually agree with you because here I am. I think that, like the ace jack off flop by Sentimento is. I think you should just fold pre-flop, even as aggressively as he's playing. It's still under the gun 8 versus big blind, you know. So you're going to be like up against queens plus ace king quite a bit.
Wow, he still gets called.
Uh,
Nine-handed, right? Under the gun, not
yeah, yeah.
roll.
Well, but he's not under the gun. He's right.
Oh, right, right. Okay, under the gun.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
got you. Yep.
And wow, we still get the call. Um, but yeah, all I was saying was that I think if he's going to call pre-flop with ace jack off, he's certainly capable of having a whole bunch of hands with diamonds in it, and especially because of ICM, just shoving and getting called or not called with a flush draw seems pretty nice. So he just bets big with ace king on that flop and gets sevens to fold. I think that's okay. Like I think big bet's probably not something you do all the time, but that's kind of a great hand for it to just start putting money in on the flop with ace king. And now, yeah, things have changed quite a bit. We've had an evening of the stacks. Um, Barak here is definitely going to play his hand. I guess we just don't know if he'll call or 3-bet. I think it's
Wow.
fine. Wow, he goes for the squeeze. So Sentimento seems to be on a bit of a, he seems to be on one right now. I'm curious if Burak can find a shove here. I'm not saying like I would or it's easy or whatever, but this is one of the strongest hands he's flatting. And if Sentimento's bluffing, he gets it through. Again, like putting pressure on people in tournament poker is effective, right? So respect to him for just going after it after losing a big pot. And we see, not even saying Burak played his hand poorly, but I'm just saying it's also interesting because we just see the different sort of ways the hand could have played out. And if he 3-bets pre-flop, he wins that hand. And Sentimento views that as some sort of opportunity. So, maybe now or 20 minutes from now or whatever, half an hour, Burak's watching the stream, he might start thinking, well, like I'm going to look for some opportunities to call some hands to back raise if I think these guys are just going to go crazy overdoing it. A nice 3-bet here from Lena, and I suspect this will just take it down. And Senti just queen 6 suited going for it.
Man, this guy came to play, huh? Luke, you must
Yeah,
be
boy, did
he's
he
your
come to
favorite
play.
player. Yeah,
No,
he's put on a show, man.
I respect it. He's making it entertaining, and I do think, there's kind of an art and a science to these things, and if he's feeling it, then go for it. I would say that Lena, I'd like from a whatever technical standpoint, ace 9 suited is kind of one of the most common 3-bet bluffs there. So I don't think, for that one, I'm going to say that Sentimento might have just got lucky to run into the right part of his range because, and I say that because, Lena's been such a crusher for such a long time. But it's paying off for him, and maybe he does have that whatever, the Phil Hellmuth white magic going. I shouldn't say like Sentimento is playing with a little more heart than Hellmuth. I shouldn't give him that label, right? But so I guess we're going to see Ace of 3-bet here, and given how he's playing, I expect Senti to take a flop with those fives probably.
Well, yeah, interesting. I mean, Sentimento too. This is where it could get weird, right? Because he knows he's playing so many hands. Fives is actually a spot where he could level himself. Like, hey, I actually have a pair. It looks like I'm crazy, which he is playing crazy, and he could step into it here. I mean, I would imagine for how he plays, he's not folding. I think he's either gonna peel, go for the jugular. This could be a short day, Luke. We might see a 7 million chip pot off the start
Yeah.
here.
Well, yeah. Well, all we need is a 5 on the flop because I think.
Oh, baby. Sometimes you just put it in the universe.
Wow. So
Wow.
this is just tough for Melby. What I was going to say before is like, at a table like this with ICM or whatever, there are quite a few boards where you can find yourself in a difficult situation with aces, So I don't know if he's going to raise or call here, or he finds the small raise, and I think it's probably Melby's going to 4-bet the flop, and it's just going in. So I think we might just see this is just a really like
Wow.
wow, oh my, ooh,
Wow.
wow. Well, this is just I guess we haven't seen the money going yet, but it should I just imagine it's any minute now. I get the question here with Joe Melby, do you call or do you shove? Um I think, you're probably supposed to just like pure call because you have the aces and you block a lot of stuff, but maybe and Santi had the 5 of diamonds, the ace and jack were both on board. So if there's like any thought of him getting away,
Wow. Well, he just snap calls. I mean, the diamonds do arrive, but he's just not, he's not
yeah,
interested. He does go for it, and this is quite a turn of events. As we said, 7 million Chipai. At least it was like a legit cooler, right? This wasn't like he just punted in fives pre, ripped
no,
it.
no.
This was like a real poker hand where some nasty run out if you are Sentimento does get flop a set and then turn nut top set of aces. So what a hand, the Brazilian with the big lead all of a sudden, and really tough run out for Sentimento there.
Yeah. And like, I think Santi played the hand well. The thing about pre-flop for him is he's in position, and if that ace didn't hit on the turn, he was going to be the winner of a 7 million chip pot. And I think being in position and flopping a hand like 1 in 8 times, or that you can get in against an overpair with like. So I think it's just a bad break, and I think he played the hand fine. And that's a tough break. Now I want to see Melby now chip leader. We have now Santa as a micro stack and Morpho very short. So I assume he's going to 3-bet him. And Burak could shovel fold with ace 5 suited. It seems really close, especially with so many short stacks out there, because Burak can basically fold into like 7th, right? But a nice shove.
These guys are good, right? Look, they know, right? It's like these games where it's super close. It's like that's the difference to know. Oh well, yeah, there are the short stacks, but the to formulate. Well, that's probably he's going to go extra wide because of that, and then being able to risk it though, to know that you're putting on the line there with Ace 5 suited. You got space with 500, Sentimento
Wow.
200.
And Sentimento just gets the Jack 4 suited shoving to give him a little like breathing room, which is you know, that's a pretty big miracle to just get that shove through.
Yeah, that was yeah, that was pretty sick. There's been an exciting final table. I don't think we've had in the Super Millions final table someone with 7 million this early. 9-handed, 7 million is a lot of chips, and you can see what a lead that really is right now. I mean,
and there we go. Barack with the King 2-3 bet out of the big blind, which is I think a good play. I think a lot of these like plays, you can be careful. You need to be careful about overdoing them, but I think they are generally like they're good plays because at the same it's you're taking these like he folded threes under the gun there off 6 bigs. I think it's really close. The thing is, it's a weird final table because Melby has so many chips, so everyone else now is sort of playing this survival game. And Morpho folds his threes, but then a lot of these guys will get all in as well behind. So I think he's thinking, I'm only winning a little bit on the 3 shove. If I can survive another orbit, I might ladder 2 spots. So I think, but now Burak's is going to shove and they're both going to fall.
Queen 4, 5, nice spot
Queen
for 5.
falls off. Wow. So Senti is just
sending in Senti. They call him back home, and he is going to need some help. It is not going to be Sentimento from penthouse to outhouse. That is a quick run for the man. But hey, he was playing to win, and to be fair, he got coolered for a massive pot. So unlucky there. Lucky for the Brazilian, 7 million as we were down to 8-handed. Appreciate everyone watching. Hit that thumbs up if you're having a good time. If you like Luke, if you like me, if you like the day, just whatever, hit the thumbs up. It's also part of the giveaway at the end. If you hit the thumbs up and the keyword, we appreciate you guys watching. You guys got stuff on the line and the hands up promo. If you guess the winning hand, the correct suits, got to go to the link, pin link, YouTube, click it, guess the hand in the Reddit chat, and you have a chance at the jackpot that is progressive every week. That is a live giveaway. So you guys can go there and guess the winning hand today, which is kind of fun. Hard to do. Right? It's not easy to guess the specific suits of the winning hand, but someone's going to do it, Luke. There's lucky people out there. I know you've met them. I've met them. People can win, right? It's going to happen. Someone will hit it eventually. So let's hope it's one of you today. And in the meantime, short stacks are there's still some short stacks. We got 2 very short stacks. Mofo getting it through there. 420,000 off 50K big blind. So short, but still a little bit of playability. How important, Luke, is being a world-class poker player, playing high-stakes poker, and being able to maneuver off 5 to 8, 9 blinds? Because there's a skill there, right? The short stack poker, to know when, little tricks, what to do. How valuable is it to be a master of the super short stack?
I think, in tournaments, it's very valuable. I think essentially what it is when people talk about like ICM a lot, but the basic idea of it is that chips are worth different amount of dollars based on your stage in the tournament. So I think finding ways to, especially when you're like in the big blind with 10 blinds or something and you defend, well, you can find ways to maybe even bluff and win chips like by bluffing or whatever post flop that can like keep you alive when you're not getting hands. And like as well, for there's also just the more basic stuff where it's like every time you sort of like miss a shove or make a slightly losing shove or whatever, it all adds up, right? And I think part of the thing about poker is it's a more forgiving game than a lot of other games because you can always just get lucky. But then, in the long run, if you were like calling those shoves like 1 pip too wide or whatever, you want to notice it. It like, there's just and sometimes you do get like the part of the beauty about poker is sometimes you do get those like perfect examples, right? Where you like sit there and you're like, oh, I don't know if I just shove here, and then you shove and get like snapped, and then you look it up and you're like, oh, if I made the right play, I would have still been in the tournament, and now I'm not, right?
For sure. No, for sure. I mean, I just seem to see some of the best that just seem to maneuver. They get short, and you just, you say the old chip in a chair, hold that whole adage. But yeah, 2, 3, 4, you have 4, 5, 6 blinds. That can become 10, 12, 15 very quickly, even just one double and get you in the game. So it's very it is cool to see people come back or make a tight fold or a spot where it's like, oh, how do you fold here? But then they end up making something out of nothing and being. I guess it depends, right? It depends a lot on the other stacks. It depends on how tough the table is, the ICM. There's so many things to consider when you are short stacked and making maybe a tight fold or not. But yeah, that's why poker's fun, right? Especially tournaments, because
Yeah.
there's different stacks, different situations always happening.
Yeah, and I would also say a lot of times it's well, I think Melby's going to find the fold here, but you never know. So we might be playing another big pot here. It's I hate folding 8-9 suited, but sometimes you just got to do it. Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say about the short stack thing is that the deeper, and I mean we're going to have ace king versus tens all in here. It looks like. But yeah, basically the other thing with short stack is you need to take your opportunities. You have to play your good hands, and you need to hope your good hands win, and there's no other substitute. You gotta just sometimes you just gotta put the money in and hope you get there.
Wow, what a turn here. 9 or 10, or else we're going to lose another player's space. And it is a pink card. That is not going to be it. And it's nice though on a flip. If you're all in and you miss the turn, you get the river just in case. That's always actually feels better. You don't make sure you didn't not see what happened. Space is out. And my man, the Brazilian, look at this. I passed a little bit of equity chips for the Brazilian, 7.7 million. Luke, we're talking nice dinners here. This is a super million. This isn't the the $10 version. We're playing for big dinners, big nights out. This is looking good for the Brazilian. A lot of poker to be played. Nicholas, I'm nervous about. He's got 2 million, always in the hunt. Barack Wizbrod as well with 2.5. So yeah, going well for the Brazilian. Good start. Barack though here, Jack 8 suited, going to pair his eights, takes the lead and has position in the hand.
Yeah, I think he'll probably check here. This isn't a board where you need to, like, there's some boards where you just auto c-bet. This definitely isn't one of them. So they both have like some showdown value. So I suspect it'll just go like check, 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 unless we see like a jack. I don't expect a whole lot to happen here.
Nice a little backup there, the 8, just in case somehow you're worried your opponent might hit, that could have a king and check it, king 10, king whatever. And now though, what do you go for sizing here? Do you go greedy and just try to get called, or something small and think, man, he can't have much? You'd probably go a little bigger, right?
I think yeah, I think that's a fine size. I think a lot of times too, when you're choosing bet sizing, it's sort of like sort of like the game theory way to approach it, and then you're just trying to like target your opponent's exact hand, like, right? And in a spot like that, it just basically, I don't think we're getting check raise. If we're getting check raise, it's by a better hand or a bluff. He's not going to check raise 7-8 for value there. So I think we should be betting pretty big, just because because that's the only way to get, like, that a one bet is like the one opportunity to get the money in the pot. Raise 3-bet. I'm curious what Barack does here. It's a pretty like interesting spot again. If it were a cash game, it's just like an easy call. But because of all the tournament stuff, I mean, honestly, I think folding is okay. And probably, yeah, I mean, the thing is, we do see Melby being aggressive, but he 3-bet ace-6 suited, he 3-bet king-queen off. He hasn't really been that out of line, and when you see these hands on the stream, it's tempting to go like, oh, maybe I should make a move here. But the problem with that is, you know, when you have aces, like, or when he has aces, he 3-betting them every time. So, you know, you losing all your chips is a much worse outcome than just missing a profitable opportunity to peel a 3-bet. And a lot of the profitability from calling those hands comes from, you know, like floating flops with like with a backdoor flush draw, like overcards, and turning our hand into a bluff on future streets and all that. And we don't really want to be doing very much of that when we could just like, you know, go take a nap and like fold into like 4th place, right?
Absolutely, absolutely right. Looks at the audience at home, they're enjoying the commentary. Again, Luke Greenwood, if you guys don't know him, Lucas, he is a world-class player, close to 5 million live earnings, plays the biggest buy-ins in the world across the tour. And all that. Sam, brother, also world-class, huge resume. Hope to have Sam on as well. And I know it's always it's fun to see you guys doing your thing, and you guys really have sort of crushed the game of poker, and we do take it in. So we enjoy the analysis, enjoy the commentary, and great to have you on here today. As you said, you're taking a little break. You might miss the next Triton, but what is the next confirmed live events for you?
Sorry, just this hand is a strange one. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, oof. I just think Anatoly with we saw how wide Melby was opening, right? Opening like 9-7 off and stuff. And if I were him, like, I think he just sort of got a little too cute there. I think we have 15 big blinds and king queen, and I think he should just shove it in. You know, if we look at like the pay jumps matter, but Morpho's really short, and I don't think Anatoly is so. You know, Anatoly had a million chips, so he had like a couple times more. But I think just paying for that one pay jump seems a little much, and I think he was a little too shallow for that play, and probably should have just went all in. And Melby's opening really wide. He's going to fold a lot. Or like also maybe, you know, he just called. He would have called with 6s, right? And then maybe we'd still be in there, or we would have won the flip.
Yeah. So Anatoly, though, recognizing easy game, he's got position on basically the same stack. Here it is, Mofo shorter. As you mentioned, the pay jumps are relative, but they you know, it's eight's looking good to the river, 86%, and gonna hold. So now three guys with basically the same, roughly the same stack, 470, 660, 678. So bad news for other short stacks, and for our friend Melby, the chip leader, doesn't really affect his stack much. He's still working here, 8.2 million.
Yeah, so easy game here. Folds. I think it's a pretty close one. I probably wouldn't have had the discipline to fold, and I probably would have min-raised folded that one. It just sort of feels like you know, if you're like we have 11 bigs, but you're under the gun and ICM and stuff, so you wouldn't want to min-raise your aces and your kings and your queens and ace king suited and stuff, and ace 3 suited feels like a pretty good bluff. But again, I don't think folding it is like losing all that much. And this one here, it just looks like it's going to be a lot of checking going on. They both have showdown, and maybe Lena makes a like thin value bet here on the end. Well, now he's just going to call, I guess. Yeah, raising this would be pretty ambitious, I think. Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, this guy is locked in, like he knows where he's at. He's right that it's a tiny bet. So My concern is that, if he's ever doing that min bet to shove over us, we might open ourselves up to a whole world of problems. And it's also a sort of similar thing because of ICM, especially for Lena and Burak, that you need to raise title for value just because you aren't like incentivized the same way because but I mean, I hate to be critical. Like he was in that hand, he was definitely right. He identified it was a small bet, and he probably has a 6 or 4 and got the reason. And yeah, it's shaping up to be a fun final table here. I think what we see a lot at these sort of final tables is even we get one guy 9-hander with 7 million in chips, but then you go, oh right, there's still another however what like almost 7-8 million in chips. So as we especially get, I think we're gonna have a fun little ICM battle, like while it's 6-handed but then once we get down to like three-handed, I think the sack should even out a bit more, and we should get to see some pretty like interesting poker hands.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's big lead right now. Big lead for the Brazilian 7 million, and we are on there's not a scheduled break, but the players do take a break. We're on a delay, so we're taking a look at the payouts. Is there any hand that jumps out to you at the moment? Is there anything so far that was kind of wild, or just that stands out as abnormal for this type of buy-in and final table that you've seen?
I think we've seen quite a lot of like, I mean, the obvious thing to say the 4-bet, but with Queen 6 suited. But I think we've actually seen like a pretty well played final table all around. It's hard to really think of any like big mistakes anyone has made, and I've also been kind of impressed by how many people we've seen just making big bets and like pre-flop especially, and people just like going for it. We've seen so many 3-bet bluffs, and that's been definitely pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, I was a little. I just think Sentimento came out blazing. It's kind of funny how that works, right? Because he actually gets to play a pot. He gets to hit a hand. He should basically stack aces and have 7 million. He was super aggressive, and all of a sudden, you're out. That is part of the ICM stuff, though, right? When you start battling in the 1 and 2, I mean, they're essentially 1 and 2. It's very rare you'll see a first and second place 9-handed at a final table go out in this day and age as well. I mean, it can happen, of course, but I would say that's super rare. Like you just don't see it really, right? Even like aces, kings, or something. Take something extreme, set over set, or
Yeah,
happens. Is
yeah,
is
and
that
even
fair? That happens much less these days.
well, even the setup we said it had to, like, if it happened in a single raised pot, there would have been the flush out there on the river, and someone probably wouldn't have ended up all in. So you even needed that. Yeah, it's been. My only thing I'd say is because I think like ultimately Santi had a big stack and like he played well to get it and had played pretty well at the final table, but I think some of those loose opens he was making, I do think it's sort of instructive to like pay attention. And what I mean by that is when you watch the final table, like, everyone came to play today. So I think, you're playing at a final table with like some of the best in the world. And if you think that just opening really loose is going to go well, like, I don't think so, because a lot of these guys are ready to play back at you. And as an overall kind of poker strategy, I think when you're the big stack, you can put a lot of pressure on people with ICM, especially when you're shoving. And just even doing things like betting 70% pot on the flop because you force a lot of those marginal hands just out of there right away. But if you're just like opening a lot of garbage hands, then people can just three bet you, and now you're the one who's kind of in a bad situation because you don't have the cards to defend the three bets. So you either need to go like full field player mode and start like four betting some pretty dicey hands, or tighten up. And when people who are like sort of letting you rampage, like go nuts, but against really tough players, they're going to come after you, you know?
Yeah, and would you say from your experience in your camp with your brother and some of your friends, again, best players, best for sure in the world, you guys are in the top 0.01% of poker players. There's no question about that, tournament poker players. Would you say that aggression favors the greats in these ICM situations, or are the great being the best? Do you really have to respect the ICM? What's sort of your feeling on that, or is it a mix of both and knowing when to push and when to sit back?
Um, I think it's a bit of both. Like it's always sort of about kind of feeling your way out this situation at the final table, and there's a bit of we're going to, so Marfo shoved the deuces here. I think it's a good shove, and he's just going to run into tens. But then Lena has ace queen suited, so um, I think he might just call here, and I think calling's actually okay. He might call, he might shove. It feels really close. And then if he shoves, Melby's going to be in quite a tough spot. I don't think Melby. I think Melby should call everything. There's seven big blind open. No one's just going to like overcall light. Lena has ace queen suited, and we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
He does fold it, and well, good. Deuces is going to live to
Is in
fight
the
another
lead,
day.
at least
It
to the
looks
river,
like.
but
It
it
looks
is
like I only jinx him. Did I just do it? That's a
no
five.
way. There's no
Oh
way.
no!
No
I
way.
can't.
Is it
I
really?
don't want to
No.
jinx him. Make it a
Okay.
nine.
The
Make it
three
a
across. I thought it was, but look at Lena.
nine.
This is like the Lena Oli Shemi and so, like the timing I feel on the the greatest greats. Like they just happen to fold. This guy wakes up with tens. He would double up. Like just somehow loses no chips. Would have come in third place actually there. Deuces, tens, ace queen suited. Gets
Yeah.
out of the way. No chips lost in a close spot though, right? You couldn't fault Nicholas if he did decide to put some chips in the pot there.
Yeah, I think I might have just called if I was him, and I think the reason for that is we're still in like a side pot, so it's not like Melby is really incentivized to like bluff. Like I don't know, it feels like a very close spot. I'm glad I'm not at the final table because I think that would have put my head. And again, the problem is with Melby, he can definitely just have aces, kings, ace, king, whatever. Like I think he's just calling everything there because it's not like a three big blind shove you need to ISO. Like a seven big blind shove you need a really good hand to call and an even better hand to call three ways. And I think our guy Easy Game is in some trouble here. I can't imagine he folds King Queen here, and Burak has the aces. So
This is actually couldn't be more perfect because I want to ask you about this specifically. This is something that I was debating with a great player who was on the stream recently, and we are talking about this. So, can you explain to me that I understand why to make 300 and not all in, right? I get it because there could be an all in, all in, all in, right? That all makes sense. But like, does it really matter if it's 300 or like 270 or like 240? What is the actual like thought process on the amount when you're all in but not committing? Because if it is all in, I would think that you would want more chips. We'll visit that in a second. I want to hear about that at the moment. King, queen to aces, aces in a very good spot. Got to fade a king or a queen. One to come. It is. Oh, it's paint. Oh, the wrong paint.
oof.
What a tease. The slow peel GG feature, brutal. And it is going to be a knockout. Barack Wisbrod takes out the Austrian Easy Game, and we are down to 5 hands. It's going fairly quick. Of course, stacks and blinds gets deeper, things can even out, but there's still some short stacks. This could be an early day's work, Luke. And let me explain. And let me re-ask that. What happens? Why 300? Why not 270? And explain the thought about not all in committal. You dropped some knowledge, please.
So the first thing is it depends what position you're shoving from, because both like the ranges for your opponents are wider, and and so like you can't quite make the same folds. You know what I mean? Like if you have king queen on the button and shove half your stack, it's pretty hard to like fold. Maybe even if it like it. Um, let's go back to what you were asking originally. The reason why you do it obviously is so you can fold. What you want to do is you want to put in like you first. I don't think the EV of it is necessarily all that substantially different, but like you want to think about how many chips you want to leave behind. Um, so sometimes you might put in half your stack if you're making like a 20 big blind reshove or something. So that way, if it goes all in behind you, you can fold and still have 10 big blinds. Um, it's it's also like we're not talking about like satellites or anything. So I do think people sometimes do it like in spots where it doesn't really make sense because you just have to call off every time anyway, you know? Like it's very rare in a tournament that's not a satellite, you're like going to like put in 80% of your stack and fold.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of those like you have 15 big blinds and you're going to like open shove, but instead of open shoving, you put in half your stack, and if it goes all in behind you, you can like get away. Um, yeah. But like I think it's one of the things, it's tricky and a lot of people have started doing it, but I don't think the EV is all that different often, and we might have some bad luck for Anatoly here. I think with just eight bigs, he'll just shove the 8-9 off, but maybe not. He seems to be considering his options. Um, this is the worst when you're leaning, you're sitting there with ace, and you're just going shove, just shove already.
Anatoly, yeah, he knows. Like he's like, oh, Nicholas is a great player. He's not going to call. Great players don't call like off. They don't like to call off. But he just look at that. Good discipline. Good discipline. Down to 6 quickly shows the aces. Also, $50 giveaway. I forgot about this one on my Twitter. Jeff Gross Poker. I'm going to put the link in the YouTube chat. You guys can retweet and follow those instructions. So we got $50 retweet that is live. We got a $50 or $100 based on who wins today. We'll give you that keyword later today. We got the hands up promo as well, which is a jackpot progressive, and that is pinned. So 3 giveaways active for the viewers at home. Hope you guys are having fun. Thanks for being here. Hit that thumbs up. Let us know where you're watching from. Luke Greenwood joins us. Again, the Canadian, he's world class, and it's a pleasure to have him taking the time today. Appreciate that. We got to get Sam on too, man. I know he's busy as well and playing a lot and traveling. Love to have Sam on as well. Is he playing, would you say, more or less poker than normal? You guys, how are you guys playing? Are you peaking poker right now? Are you taking it easy?
I just need to comment quickly on because the Super 2-2 King Queen shove there was exactly what I was talking about, right? He's under the gun. He has 12 bigs. He has too good a hand to fold. He puts in half a stack. There were a bunch of people behind him, including some deep stacks. So if the deep stacks put the money in, he can get away from it. And if it's heads up, he just has to run it. Morpho's tanking with ace-5 off. This is like a defend for chips here. I think this is just not really a great play here under ICM. He seems to be in the tank, but it's just one of these spots where you might be winning small, but like not.
You can't call here. No one calls
No.
this spot.
No, but I mean, he's obviously tanking about it, so I don't think he can call. Oh, maybe he's just sitting out. Sam. So Sam is going to Monaco. He's going to Cyprus. I think he's not going anywhere for a while and will be sort of happy to hop on, but I don't want to speak for him. And yeah, my next stop is I'll play some stuff at the World Series in Vegas. I don't know what yet, but like definitely the main event, and I'm hopefully going to do Triton London and EPT Barcelona. So a nice 3-bet here by Burak. It's just good hand selection, and I don't think there's a whole lot Lena can do with ace-10 off. And this is a spot where again it's like Burak's bluffing, but it's like it's not really a bluff, it's like an honest bluff. He's bluffing with the cards he's supposed to, so you don't want to be really getting out of line against someone doing that. You assume they're pretty like balanced. Yeah, I'm excited. I do want to get back out there on the live circuit, but it has been nice to get a break, and I've been grinding some stuff online and just enjoying the city.
Where can people follow along? Do you do any type of blog or website or social stuff? Is there anywhere people can, if they want to sweat you when you're playing, what they can follow you along?
No, I don't actually. I don't know. I just talk a lot with my like friends and family and whatever, but I'm not really big on self-promotion.
Lucas,
So
that's what I was teeing up. I knew the answer. I know you don't do the socials. That's why I was just letting the audience know what a treat it is to have you here today, because you're not, you just kind of win quietly, do your thing. And today we get to kind of pick your brain and get a little bit of time with you. So I
yeah.
agree with you.
Oh, and how could I forget? I Ranaonce.com. I do training videos at Ranaonce.com. So if you like this, then I will yeah, go there. Um, there's a lot of really great content on there. Not just me, but there's so many names who have like, I'm not entirely sure who all is still like active making videos, but I believe you have access to the whole library, and it's like Phil Galfond, Sauce123. There's like Jason Kuhn videos in there, like Sam, my brother, Dan DeVore, Seth Davies, like Espen Jorsted, main event champion. So there were so many. Kevin Rabichauer. There were
Real quick,
so many
Ace Nine
videos.
all in. This is a dog, and he hits a nut
Oof.
flush mofo. Gonna be not
Wow.
other Super Tutu Anatoly rooting against big time for the pay jump. Other sort of stack up to 1.3 million. And sorry to interrupt you there. Run it once, of course, Phil Galfon, and there's a lot of good training programs these days. There's a lot of information, but that is for sure one that's been around forever and is known to be of the highest caliber and quality. And definitely know that there's some absolute great quality stuff there. So that's cool. That's great to know. What do you focus on there? It's mostly tournaments, sort of tournament strategy, or how do you do your reviews there?
Yeah. So normally, I mix it up. Sometimes it's like live play where you see my whole card. Sometimes I just take hands and go through a little more of a deep dive through like Pio or whatever. So I try to do a good mix of like everything. I understand it's supposed to be entertaining, and this is a pretty interesting hand here. Super Tutu has been playing pretty tight, but then I guess he's decided, enough is enough, and he's hanging in there with the 7-8. So I can't imagine he folds turn with a pair and a spade. I just a matter of whether he's going to call or shove. Uh, and I think Lena here sort of recognizes what's going on. That Super Tutu's in here. Wow, and he just folds it. I mean, um, you know, it, there's a lot of pressure at final tables, and I get that people, we all make mistakes. I've made my share of like bad folds on stream and stuff. But I just think the main thing here is for people watching at home is just like don't be afraid to put the money in. If you can't win if you don't put the money in. Like so that's my main thing here is like don't be afraid to just like go for it, right? Because not necessarily like piling in like huge stacks with marginal hands, but especially as you get shorter, at some point like you just gotta like make a stand and pick your hand and go for it. Uh, and Anatoly survives again. So these short stacks are really duking it out.
Yeah, it's gotten down pretty quick. I mean, 2:45 start, hour and 10 in. We have lost 3 players.
And I like this play quite a bit from Lena. It's again, he has a good hand. He has big cards. He's suited. It's a good bluff. Wow, and just shoves it right in his face with ace-7 off. Didn't even like think about it. Wow. Yeah, these guys are not scared. And I guess ace queen's gonna shove, and we'll get a fold here. Again, that a7. I mean, I am curious how wide Lena is bluffing because we've seen some pretty, but I think this is also part of the reason why Lena has had so much success and is such a great player is we've seen him make a few 3-bet bluffs, but he had queen jack suited one time, he had ace-9 suited one time, and you know the ace-7 off shove. Sometimes you're going to have aces there, sometimes you're going to have ace-king suited or kings or whatever, right? So when you have that aggressive image, you can really, you know, sometimes the bluffs don't work, but I would like to see Super Tutu defend the 7-5 suited there. You know, it's sort of what I was saying earlier, and you were talking about like the short stack ninja and all that. If all he did was call 7-5 suited and just like, you know, get it in when you flop a pair, you're going to do pretty fine with that strategy. So I think sometimes, you know, especially when you're getting great immediate pot odds, you really just want to flick it in. Like if you want to have 10 big blinds and you're getting like 4-1 on one big blind, that's a pretty hard offer to turn down with like any reasonable hand. And yeah, it really looks like this is just Melby's world, and everyone else is just struggling.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a record. I'm not positive, but like from what I can remember, I don't believe anyone's had 9 million six-handed in the standard format, right? We had a couple special editions where there's so many entries and the chips are different, but in like the stock Sunday, play to a final Tuesday Super Millions, I don't believe this lead has happened, like a 4x almost lead over second. I mean, you can see it still 2 really short stacks. This could go to a spot where he really keeps everyone down, because like usually what happens is someone gets up to 7-8, they get a little aggressive, they've shoved, someone doubles, they get to 4, things even out. But right now he is in, you know, he's just kind of chipping up, getting close to 10 million, and really having his way with the field at the moment. And Nicholas and Barak set up pretty nicely to sort of, you know, get further along, as Anatoly and Super Tutu are going to have to put their chips at risk here pretty soon. Mofo did find that heart on the river, else we would have been down to 5 with 2 really short stacks. So very interesting dynamic here today, and could be a short one.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if I guess Burak's is going to take this down. I wonder what happens with if Super Tutu might just roll with the a7 in the small blind here and only 5 bigs. Anatoly here, yeah. Yeah, it is sort of this like game of chicken now, right? But between Anatoly and Super Tutu, and I do think that, you know, not it's always way easier to play poker when you're on the stream and you can see everyone's cards. So I'm like, I don't mean to be critical because I know these, like, you know, guys are really good players, but I do think there was something about when you're this short, you know, you do want to kind of try to survive and like pay jump a bit, but the other side is if you pass up the opportunities you get to win chips, then you're just not going to get any opportunities. This is interesting. Yeah, this is a really interesting. So because Anatoly so short, Tutu so short, King Queen suited here is, you know, kind of like the magic hand. Call is okay, I guess. It's a really difficult spot pre-flop. I think shove is okay. I think if you shove the King Queen suited, Burak probably has to fold his pocket sevens. You know, if we're not shoving king queen suited for value, like what are, you know, how tight is our range? Or like not, it wouldn't be a value shove, but if we're just shoving like ace king, ace queen, we'd fold sixes. So if you shove the king queen suited, I think Burak would just have to fold sevens pre-flop. It's also not you know, even if Martha flips over king queen suited, it's not a particularly exciting spot. We're sitting second in chips now. We're just sort of like chilling, and all of a sudden, if we lose that all into Martha, we're in the danger zone. I guess you think you were turning these sevens into a bluff. It's I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible bluff. Yeah, it's pretty low in our range. Martha is a pretty difficult spot right here. Now, you know, again, and it gets through. It's nice hand by Burak. I gotta hand it to him. That was an impressive hand. And now eights is going to shove. And I get an Anatoly, I think, has to. Ew. This is also tough, yeah, because for chips he has to call off, but he's hoping that Lena calls off and busts him. But no.
Yeah, it's getting intense. I mean, this is Anatoly is down to 160,000. He's got two big blinds.
Yeah. But again, what the difference between sixth and fifth is like 35K, and then it's about the same between fifth and fourth, and then there's a big pay jump to get into the top three. So I guess, yeah, I think it's interesting, but I think, you know, part of the thing here is that being six-handed and, you know, half the field also, see, like, Martha just calls the jacks there and now lucks out, and he might get, well, you know, hits like a dream flop after slow playing the jacks. I imagine he's just check raise stacking off here, and I don't see how Melby can get away. Oh wow, he just called.
Six.
Um, and yeah, you know, the the you know, when we're this short, you just really gotta like. I think there's this mistake that some of these short stacks are making here, that they're kind of assuming they're in this like folding contest, and it's not quite that. And also, the lowest variance way to win chips, even though it's counterintuitive, when you're short, the lowest variance way to win chips is to go all in, because most of the time you go all in and nobody calls you.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's tricky. I think that's tricky to understand or to be able to do in the moment. You can be too careful or try to play a style that is actually not advantageous to the situation, and that is something also I think the best pros, the most experienced players really understand and are able to leverage. Whereas you see some players less experienced or less understanding and maybe come in and approach it in a way that doesn't give them the best chance to win or get chips. So yeah, it's a very valuable point. Look at this now. King deuce suited all in for about a blind and a half. Anatoly, king deuce suited, got a couple of hands here. 9-10 suited is for sure playable. You got 7 super 2-2.
Wow.
Wow, this is can Melby go for a double knockout here? Is it too much on the 8 blind?
I think he's got a call here. The thing is, Anatoly's already all in, so
Right.
Super 2 should be a little tighter, but you know, he needs to come in third place to well, that's not true. I mean, obviously he can, if Anatoly can come in first, and he can come in third, and no, but that is right. He needs to come in third place to get knocked out. So yeah.
Wow.
I'm surprised
Oh, well.
Burak folded the 9-10 suited, not that it's again. Well, here we are.
See a 3, an ace of 8, or a double knockout. King deuce needs a king or a deuce, and
Yeah.
7's gonna get a
Wow.
very timely double up there. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
big spot there. Going to get some newfound chips, and Anatoly will go out, and we are going to be down to 5-handed play as Super Tutu in the game now, 1.5, 1.6, and Nicholas all tied essentially, and Barack in second. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, and as we said, it seems like Melby's like a lock to win this, but with four-handed, he's got about half the chips in play. So it really is like, if he knocks everyone out, sure, but all he needs to do is, if he loses two all-ins, he could be out in third place. So we still have a lot of play left. Yeah, and it is, and I'm also just commenting on this. I haven't actually, sometimes I have opinions on poker hands that turn out to be completely wrong. So I think it is really tricky when you're playing these short stack kind of weird stack dynamic final tables. So we get the 3x from Queen 9 off, which I think is a nice play from Burak. He runs into queens and Martha slow plays, which I think is also a pretty nice play there. Right now, he's looking like a genius because he's flop Burak basically dead. And could end up getting him to bluff off a big pot. So Burak checks the flop, and I guess it's and is just going to check fold. So I assume so a nice play by him to sort of avoid getting into trouble here.
Yeah, this has been a very unique final table so far. I mean, that would have been if Melby had knocked out Super Tutu there, it would have been even more crazy. But still, a pretty big spot. We can see some shoves in certain situations. Although I guess Barack right has 2.7, so he can't just kind of flail it in. He doesn't really have the spot where the two guys are directly next to each other as the blinds are up to 50, 100,000 though. 26 big blinds, second place. Barack, this is an interesting one. Could on the open here for Barack. I mean, could he just surf it in there? Or is that too much?
No, because I mean Burak. Well, Melby might ship it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Okay, I think it could go either way. I think again people talk about ICM a lot, but post flop ICM is a thing as well. So Burak now checks back, uh, because and it sort of makes sense for him to check back because not just with his hand, with like his range, he does not want to be playing big pots right now, right? Like, so if we have Melby blocks out with his trips, which seems okay, and Burak just dumps King Jack without a club, which also seems good. I think you're sort of avoiding some of these marginal defends, and it's helping out. So this is one where, so if I was Super Tutu here, I would have just stuck it in. I think we only have 12 bigs, and now you end up with Lena, who is I think that defend is probably a little bit loose, but I think he thinks he can probably sort of take advantage of Super Tutu a bit. Because he has been he's just been playing pretty tight, and I don't think Lena isn't worried about getting, and then he shoves the flop, and like there it is, and he folds ace five, which I guess that's just why I said I would have just shoved pre with ace five. I think checking flop is okay as well, but and now he's going for it 7-8 suited, and he's going to find a caller. So
Ace Queen 7-8. Big moment here. Super 2-2. And an ace for Lena. Heart would chop it up. Very interesting run out here. Sweaty river coming. It feels like a heart, but it's not. And it is a GG.
Diamond. Good game.
Good game. Super 2-2. Gonna bow out.
Yeah.
Fifth. We are down to 8.6 million. Lena, gotta respect him. 3.4 million in second. You just can't really count him out. you got to figure it's like against the unknown, semi-unknown Melby from Brazil, at least on GGPoker. We don't have a ton of data on him. You got to almost put that handicap at even, right? If you get the heads up around the 2-1 dog. I mean, Lena has so much experience. One of the all-time greats in poker and online poker for sure, if not the greatest, and going to be looking to add a title to his resume for the Super Millions.
Yeah, he's how many times has he won this thing? I think he's won it 2 or 3 times.
No. He's won 3 in season 2. He's won 5 or 6 for
5
sure.
or 6.
I know he's
Wow.
won 5 without a doubt, but I see season 2, season 3 results. This is our season 2023 Super Millions, episode 8. Again, Jeff Gross, your host, joined by Lucas Greenwood, and he is a absolute talent, guys. Search him, check him out. Like I said, not a ton of social media stuff, but he just kind of wins, does his thing, and he is joining us here today. So we appreciate that, calling the action, giving us a lot of insight here. Pretty interesting spot. Key card, key heart, big ICM, 4 players left. I mean, SPR about 1.4 minutes. So he's going to go for it. He's going to put the gas on here. Not an easy spot for Mofo.
No, I think he's probably going to fold. I think it seems like a good fold. Like he can have a flush, he can have queen 9, he can have, a jack or a 10 with a heart. I think this is sort of the stuff I'm talking about where, the ICM pressure you get to continue post flop, that is just really hard to continue with a lot of these sort of marginal hands. So Burak, I think he's just going to shove. If he limps. Limping's kind of cool. Now Melby, I think, is just going to shove the 4s, but it depends, I guess. Yeah, I think that's a good shove. Just ICM and whatever you put a lot of pressure on it. I guess. I think in all those kinds of sports, I often wonder about how balanced people are with their limps. But I do think Burak's a good player, and I think at some point he just open raising the 4s here, and Lena, I assume, is going to fold queen 6 here. I guess he's thinking about making a move here, but I can't imagine Melby's. I think we know what Melby's doing. Yeah. So nice play for Melby. Pretty cool, I think, how he took pocket 4s and found a way to get 800,000 chips out of Lena without showdown. It's a nice hand. And you see also with some of the ICM stuff that it just as much of the big stacks, part of the game is the big stacks get to win more than their fair share of chips. And I think some people, just in general, not talking about the final table, they attack because they see the big stack playing so aggressively, and it is really tricky to find that balance between picking especially at like a no limit hold'em final table, because when you're bluffing your pre-flop, you're normally polarized, and if you want to be polarized, you can kind of pick a whole host of hands to do it with. So it's really about finding those right spots. And Martha was going to, I assume, just fold again here. And we see just putting because what's crazy about these two is that normally when you associate pressure, you think of a lot of big betting, but just by third part, he's really just putting a lot of these guys into the gears, because a lot of the marginal defends are for 20% of the stack, 30% of the stack, and it's tough to know what to do.
Yeah, it's 4-handed, 10 million, big spot. Here we go. This is what we're talking about, in a spot where he now is able to put a lot of pressure, especially on these stacks that are their risk premium a bit higher. Mofo's shorter, about half their stack. So for them to go out, the jumps are a little more significant now. And this is interesting because this is actually the exact spot. 5-7, not really a hand you'd want to be shoving with, but he is going to attack. And of course, Nicholas at the top of his range.
Yeah. And of course, he's going to, 3-bet non all in, given what we've seen Melby do so far. Oh, I can't imagine he shoves the 5-7 off. Yeah, but given that, we've seen Melby being unafraid to get in there, that anytime any of these guys sort of wake up with a big hand, they're going to go for it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to have a shove and a call here. It's sort of close with 5-4 suited, but I just can't imagine Morpho pitching it. He might limp fold it, but nah.
Wow, it's hard. Not what you expect normally. Get sixes, no overcards, but a possible sweat. Could be a sweat. There is what is the, I guess the sweat
he needs an ace or a 9, yeah.
There was a possible chop, but Mofo is going to go on out. You can see the earnings there on GG. He has some experience and he has played in the Super Millions before, but nice score down to 3. Melby looking good, guys. Oh, I got to do the giveaway, man. I'm sorry. I forgot this, but we'll expedite it. The giveaway is going to be GGPoker Lucas and then your GGPoker username. So this could be fast. We're not going to do this long. Giveaway is above, and that is what we got there. So you type GGPoker space Lucas, enter your GGPoker username, and we will be picking a winner for either $50 or $100. And I think it's looking good for 100 today. Melby and Nicholas are on for that in there. So good luck to you guys at home. We had that hands up promo. If you hit the thumbs up, you're eligible, as well as typing in GGPoker space Lucas space username. And we will get that done. Once we hit the heads up, we'll announce that into the heads up play.
Yeah, so Burak takes a stab here with his low gut shot. I have to imagine he's going to keep going here now that he has the double gutter, and Melby will fold Jack 2. I think limping 6-4 suited is kind of a good hand to limp, because part of the thing about the hands you raise is you want to have blockers to high cards, right? So a lot of his hands that'll fall to a raise of a 6 or 4 on them. Melby could have raised over the limp with the Jack 2 off, and if we've seen one sort of, it's such a poker cliche, but if we've seen one thing at this final table, it's kind of been like the people who have taken the lead and been aggressive and putting money in the pot have been getting rewarded for it and getting a lot of folds and winning pots without the best hand. And we're in a it's a really interesting spot here particularly for Nicholas and Burak, because they were competing against each other to try to outlast Melby. So they need to play a little cagey, but also they can't pass up too many opportunities, because the best way to outlast the other one is to, gain more chips. And especially in pots they play against each other, every pot you lose is giving the other guy a better chance to ladder up. So you really gotta be fighting for those. This one, though, Queen High is too much showdown, so Nicholas is just trying to get to showdown. Burak has a pair of 4s. Might value bet it here, but just checks. I think the check is fine. I think it's one of these pretty borderline value bets under ICM. Ace deuce. Ooh. He could shove. He could also 3x and fold to a shove. He limps, which seems okay. And Melby goes after it. I'd imagine he's going to limp shove here. I think we've just seen Melby be so aggressive
Yeah, it's a nice play. It's a nice play there. Nice hit with the weakish ace high. the weakest actually offsuit, just to be able to get some extra chips, not go post flop, and take it down in here. Pretty nice hand, queen 10 suited versus 7-5 suited, likely going to be well, I was gonna say likely be limping, but I guess again, versus the situation, the chips, it's just nice to be able to raise, get some folds there, and put pressure on it. As we see here, the flat queen 10 suited gets the dream flop top pair and the flush draw as 7-5 pairs and is betting into a monster. Needs to hit a 7 or 5 that is not a diamond. Obviously, the 5 is a diamond out there, so few outs, but not many. And Melby, does he want to fire or slow down? Does decide to slow down here. Now Nicholas with the decision on what to do bet size wise. Got to feel pretty confident in his hand, of course.
Yeah, I expect him to maybe bet here around like third pot. Melby's in a pretty tricky spot here. You know, it's not like we expect the 5 to be good all that often, but we're getting a good price. We have outs to make 2 pair. And he calls, and now the river's an 8, and I think it'll, well, it's interesting, right? I think Lena's going to value bet, given how wide ranges are blind versus blind. It's like, what really does he play like this? Does he just check call the turn with a hand better than queen 10? And again, a good bet size on the river. He leaves himself like 5 big blinds back. That way, if he gets called and he's bluffing, he still has. We might see Burak go for it here to make it like 600K. Oh, I was just saying Lena with the queen 10 that if he's bluffing, being left with 500K is a really big deal. You know, you still have fold equity on a shove, and you could even just outlast Burak if he just gets a good hand. So I don't like the defend with king 5 off here. I think given the ICM situation, you're just kind of preparing to get bailed and too much pressure put on you. I'd also say for Melby, he's been doing a lot of small betting on the flop, and he can definitely do big betting as well. You know, if he just bet big on the flop, Burak would have had to muck his king 5 off, just like right there, I think. So I'm being results oriented based on his hand, but I'm also trying to let the audience know that, you know, sometimes on these boards, especially under ICM, you know, you can bust out bigger C bets. You don't just need to be with your good hands too. You don't just need to like quarter pot everything. Wow. You know, Burak has a bluff catcher, but he's never losing to you know, pocket sixes isn't bluffing here. So some of these smaller bets, you know, it's tempting because you're getting a great price. You have a hand that wins every time he's bluffing, and he's been opening and sick call. Yeah, really nice call from Burak. You know, I think it's a really nice call. All credit to him. I also think it's as simple as like pot odds and sort of what I was saying on the flop, that when you have nothing as the big stack, you know, if you really want to put pressure on people, don't just bet third pot on the flop and check the turn and bet third pot on the river. If you really want to like wield your chips, throw some in the middle and force these guys to, even if you just the flush get there, so it gets a little weird. But if you bet big on the flop and bet big on the turn, like even if Burak is like king jack, what is he going to do? You know, it's like really tough spot to continue without an ace, and he's going to be mostly all in pre-flop with an ace. So he check calls here with the big bet. I think that's a little loose for my liking by Burak. Like, it's just sort of the same thing. Him and Lena were both short, and it strikes me as a really marginal defender out of position, and I have a hard time seeing how we're going to win the hand with 9-5 without a flush draw or backdoor or anything. Unless it just goes check call, check, check, and then we bet. So not like, again, I really don't want to be too critical because it's these guys are great players and poker's a really hard game. But just for letting the audience know, I think part of the way all these ICM adjustments come about is we just, at like every decision we make, we just need to, like Barack and Lena especially, they just need to be a little bit tighter at every decision point across the whole hand, you know?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, 10.5. This is a nice situation for Melby, and it's very interesting. The blind on blind, Nicholas and Barack here, who are trying to get the heads up. They are definitely at a chip deficit, but also want to, of course, you can see the pay jumps, how big it is between second and third. And of course, the super ranking valuable points for the season as well on the line. So a lot to play for here. There are no deals in the GG Super Millions every week. Again, Sunday we play to a final table, and then Tuesday do a commentary. I'll be your host. We have a very special guest each week as Lucas Greenwood joins us today, and we will see you guys next Tuesday. And we're going to make it a $100 giveaway as well. We'll be seeing you again for another special show, special guest, and see who gets to win today. I know Nicholas looking to add to his very impressive stats, and Barack has 4 final tables season 2 and 2 final tables already in season 3 in short order. So very, as you mentioned, you battle a lot with him, and it is a player that is tough to play against. Although he's got his work cut out for him, having to battle with Nicholas and the chip leader here, 10.5 million. That's a lot to ask to get a win. No, he'll be happy with it. Anytime you finish top 3, right? Even if you come in chip leader at a final table, maybe you don't feel that way, but finishing top 3, that's where the meat is in the tournaments, and it is nice to be there. It's also nice to get aces on the button 3-handed, as he is going to look to get some action here. Although, don't think it's going to be the case.
No. And about what I guess with 3 hands ago, Lena made a nice bluff there with 8-9, where they just checked it down to the river, and he stabbed it and got Barack to fold queen high. And yeah, it's been a pretty, well played final table across the board. We've seen a lot of bluffs, and Barack just folds the Jack 3 suited there in the big. I guess after the King 5 call, he kind of thought better of it. So with the pocket 7s here, I guess he'll probably go for a limp shove again based on how well it went for him last time.
Yeah.
But Melby here, well, he should check, yeah. So a nice check. It's sort of the same idea here, that when he wants to be more polarized raising over those limps, because you hate to like raise fold the hand as pretty as Jack 8 suited. So check. Interesting turn spot. Melby's obviously not going anywhere. Barack might just block. I think we're going to see a bet for Melby here, and I think it's a pretty tough spot for Barack. And he just folds. Can't really blame him that much for that. Melby can have a 9 or a 10. It's obviously pretty tempting to peel there, but it's sort of what I was saying earlier, and like a nice shove here with 10-9 suited. I like this. But yeah, with Barack on the turn there with 7s, it's sort of what I was saying earlier. It's one of these pretty marginal spots, and even if you have the best hand on the turn, you need to get a good river and not get bluffed. So it's all that stuff takes away from our EV. So we fold the 5-3 suited. Yeah, like I get it. I'm not sure exactly where we draw the lines here on what we defend in the big blind, but Barack clearly is realizing that, hey, Melby is the chip lead. He's putting a lot of pressure on us, and I need to avoid some of these like marginal defends. I'd have a hard time letting the suited ones go, but I think he's generally making the right adjustment. And a good raise there by Melby. These are sort of the money hands for like raising out of the blinds. You're like Queen 7 suited and King 7 suited, or sorry, Queen 7 off, King 7 off, Queen 8 off, because you don't have those low cards in there. You have a high card. You can't really limp call them. So they're sort of that perfect middle. And I think Burak, yeah, is just going to go for it. And I think that's a really good shove by him. Melby's opening too wide. Well, not too wide. He's opening very wide. And A7 is kind of a perfect one to shove. And fours, I assume, we're just putting him in here with Burak.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a loose open from Lena, but you know, it's not really like notable. It's kind of like one of those like cuspy hands. And good job from Burak. And like, you know, I like what we're seeing from Burak here because he is. Oh, well, we're probably going to end up with an all in here. I don't know if Melby's. Yeah, I like how Melby's playing this because Lena's going to shove. I can't imagine him doing anything else. But I like this way. Wow, he three bets non all in.
Oh, here we go. King Jack suited ace
okay.
10. This is a big one at home. If you're watching, King Jack suited ace 10 and a queen
Wow,
flop needs the runner. Oh,
here it is.
little
Ooh.
something picks up a 5-outer. I've seen crazier, but this is
Oh, wow.
Jays are out.
Ooh,
Wow, Nicholas Asa, that is a big moment for Barack.
that's a way to
Again,
go.
just absolute crazy, man. Shout out to the Jays out there. If your name starts with a J and you felt it, let me know. That is a big, big blow to Nicholas, who will not get his at least fifth or sixth title, I should say. It might even be 7. I know for sure it's 5. So crazy, crazy run. Great showing as always. The legend, man. Cheers to you. Great game. Fun to watch as always. And of course, here now, Barack's got his work cut out for him, and a big heads up, very out chipped, right? What's that? 5-1, 5-1 chip. That's about pretty big,
and wow.
pretty big work. What's your strategy if you're Barack here? Do you try to grind it down? You just focus on the big blinds, try to block out the big deficit?
Yeah, well, the thing about this is, you know, the way ICM goes is, you know, once your heads up, there is no ICM because you're either first or second. So this is a really interesting hand. Barack raised over his limp with 8-4 off, and you know, it's a high code board, so he feels like he's got to keep betting at it because he's got all the high code hands at his range. The flop block seems okay. I like this bet when he turns bottom pair because it's sort of this like it's a good bluffing hand. You know, we put Melby in a tough spot with a queen or a jack or king high, and now interesting, right? Because it's like if Burak checks, Melby's going to bluff and he's going to lose the hand. If Burak shoves, he's going to win the hand because he had the best hand. But it's, I mean, maybe I can't imagine Melby gives up, you know, goes a check here. And Burak has the 4, he has a club.
Wow, nice shove.
Fearless.
That's so sick. I mean, that's a big swing. That puts him back in the game. Like you said, if he somehow checks, he basically is not going to be a surrender from Melby with that hand. So that is a big swing, and 3.7 closes the gap a little. And we got ourselves we got ourselves a little bit of a game. It's never over till it's over. Let's play some poker here.
Definitely. And I think it was a good play by him. I think, you know, pre-flop is whatever, you got to bluff some bad hands heads up. He gets the ace high flop, which he wants to keep betting because he has all the good hands in his range. He turns the bottom pair, so now he wants to try to fold out like some king high and some 10x and some queen x and some jack x. And then by the time the river gets, he has a club in his hand and he has basically 0 showdown value. So it's pretty hard to criticize the bluff. And here it just looks like king 8, king 9. I don't think Burak will bluff king high. Melby's probably just going to check here with his 8. So I think maybe Melby blocks. Yeah, I actually think this is a pretty okay play. You know, Burak shouldn't really have an ace ever. He could have a queen. And he can definitely call king high or 7 or any of that stuff. So I think this is a totally okay one to block. And we can see Burak in the tank here with king high. So
wow, I was just thinking. I honestly was thinking he's got a decent candidate to bluff, right? King 10, the diamond. I mean, it's not something you see a lot. That's that's definitely a pretty high level bluff there. I mean, that's not someone people are going to take a lot. But on the block, sizing, picks it up and decides that he's got some relevant cards. Nice play, Barack, man, closing it. It's all of a sudden looking a little closer to 2-1. This is not over.
And Melby, you know, definitely could have call that raise there. I'm not sure, you know, again, it's easy to say you call when you see your hand, but he had the 8, so he beat any bluff. He had the king of diamonds. Now, given the action, Burak didn't need an 8. He needed, well, I assume we're just going to get 6s all in here and a fold. I'd be kind of shocked to see anything else, yeah. Again, Melby, I don't think that the right hand selection heads up. I don't, you know, just for, you want to be more polarized, and like 5-7 suited's a cool hand. It can make straights and flushes and all kinds of cool stuff. And a lot of times when you're getting shoved on, you're just getting shoved on by a hand like 6s or ace king or ace queen that you're actually doing pretty good against. So you'd rather stick to bluffing sort of especially the shallow heads up. You know, if you're 100 blinds deep, then yeah, go for it with the 5-7 suited. But when you're shallow, or you know, you'd rather just stick to like the king 5 off kind of hands as your bluffing hands than the 5-7 suited. But yeah, really fun table, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty interesting heads up match. Burak has made a game of it, and you drafted Burak, right? So I owe you the dinner no matter what now.
I think the audience, I'm giving them 100 anyway. Even though I said, let's try to hit that thumbs up, get entered. We are going to announce 1,000 on watching. Appreciate you guys being here today. And yeah, I think we do have a dinner, but we will have ourselves. I think I did get Barack. I know for sure. But Melby was my first pick, as I think I sacrificed a tiny bit of chips maybe for him and Spot. But and Barack, I believe I did get too, as this is a pretty big board here. Everyone's got a lot going on. 6-7 open-ended straight flush. We got 2 pair, kind of a weird turn card there that was interesting. But 9-6, still 9 does have a nice top pair. I guess the board, there's a lot of connecting cards.
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of connecting cards with no money's going to go in. It's kind of a funny hand because, you know, like they both have like the full house blockers and no one has a full house. Burak also has been raising the button a lot, and I do think at this stack depth heads up, you know, you do get to a point where you should be mixing in some limps as well. Of course, it depends who your opponent is and what you can get away with and all that, but you know, no one's folded the button yet. When you're playing heads up no limit, you do very little folding of the button, especially like this shallow. This is another sort of one. Burak, you know, finds a really nice check back on the flop with bad top pair. Well, if he bet the flop, he put Melby, suspect with a check raise, and he had to call, and Burak calls the river with the 10 and is going to lose. And I think that's a nice river bet, and a really nice flop check by Burak that, you know, prevented him. You know, once the queen of hearts hits on the turn, he's obviously not going to lose that much. But if he bets the flop and gets check raised and the turn's like a deuce, it could be all over. So I think it was a really nice check. And I think it's something you see kind of often heads up, where, or even just blind on blind, where you're dealing with really wide ranges, where when you have your sort of bad top pairs, you do a lot of checking with them. And a nice check raise here with 8-9 on king 7-7. We have like the 3 straight. And especially if he thinks Melby is just sort of auto betting it in position, it's probably a spot where that check raise is going to go really nicely for us.
Queen 8, 10-8, Queen 8. Of course, you know, I know Lucas. I know I don't even have to ask. I know, like, I would bet a lot that you know the computer hand, you know the dead even middling hand in heads up poker, right? Obviously, you got to know every single name in the book. You know it, right?
I thought it's Queen 7.
Yes, exactly right. That's why this hand reminded me of that. So I had to ask you. That's like That's kind of like 101 as you start poker, I think. But some people don't know that or haven't heard that. But that is the dead middling hand in the moment. Queen 8 is actually, you can see, has a nice situation here. Has the better kicker, was open ended. 10-8 does pair on the turn, a million in the middle, and Melby sort of in a. He got smashed on the last time he blocker bet. Did something. Let's see. He does check. Has a little showdown, different situation. Barack happy to show that down, chipping up 6 million, less than a 2-1 lead. It was 5-1, and things can turn away quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. It's been, you know, Barack's been playing well, and he's been getting the right cards, and made that nice bluff against Melby with the King 9. And like again, this one is not a. I don't really like this play with the 10-9 suited here. Melby has shown that he's willing to really go for it pre-flop, and including right now, he's obviously thinking about it with the ace deuce. And this is wow. And I mean, I wonder if Burak might have it in him to stick it in his face here.
Is calling out of the question at this point? He's still at 4 million. See a flop. I mean, versus like just shoving it in. It seems like that. If he's gonna, it's a lot of hand to let go.
Wow. I don't think calling is out of the question.
Yeah.
But that's also again why I think it's just a bad hand to 3-bet. You know, the hands you want to play pre-flop pots with, and the hands you want to play post-flop pots with. And 10-9 suited's a post-flop pot hand.
Yeah.
And now Barack adjusts and limps the button with King 6 suited, and Melby raises 9-10 suited, and he's going to call, and we'll have a pretty interesting hand. But again, it's the same sort of thing here with 9-10 suited. That imagine how much it would suck here if Barack just like limp shoves on the 9-10 suited, and you have to throw it into the muck again instead of getting to see a flop. And like one of the advantages of checking back a hand like 9-10 suited pre is like if he's limping the button with 9-5 off, that's good for us. You know, we keep him in there with a lot of 10s and 9s that we dominate. And if we raise, he's mostly just sort of like he's going to fold probably 7-9 in position and call 8-9 and call Jack-9. And then Barack raises here. I mean, Melby's not going anywhere, of course. This raise also feels a little ambitious to me. Like, I just think it's the same thing with like we have King High, we're in position, heads up. I think our hand is good enough that we can just call and play position. I get this one, you know, this one I'm okay with because this one at least we have a really easy fold if we get played back at. But there's a lot of money in here. He's going to block. Melby's not going anywhere. It's just a matter of whether he shoves or calls. It's a pretty tricky spot because we don't actually beat any value, right? It's hard to think of a hand Barack will play for value. So, and
wow, what a run out. That is a absolute crazy hand here. And we are, I mean, this is going to be a whole new ball game. There's just no way.
He might even shove and get called here. You know, we only have 2.8 in our stack. There's 4.4 in the middle. It's tempting to shove a 6 here. You know, I don't see, especially if he thinks Melby might open jam the river with a jack, at least some of the time. I guess we have to be concerned about what calls us. Oh, but he finds it. So hands off to Barack. That's a really nice job.
I mean, this is Melby had a hammerlock on this situation on the flop, on the turn, and gets just a horrific river and actually improves. It's like literally the worst river in the deck. I mean, I guess you could say, 5 obviously would have been bad, but like maybe he would, this is just, he improves and his opponent improves and just a disaster situation. And we might have let's see, alone, even if he folds, opponent will have 7 million to 9 million. We got a brand new ball game. And if he calls, then he is going to be the shortest stack and by some. So Barack, man, what a moment here. You see the experience on the left and right. Really nice feature, season 2023 Super Millions. This is episode 8. See the player rank, their profiles from 2022 Super Millions and 23, as well as overall earnings, 4 million on GG alone for Barack. Melby a little newer. See got some GGPoker earnings. And
oh wow, he calls.
and wow.
Wow. What a sick hand.
This is
yeah. And now Barack is in the lead. Wow. Yeah, that was a wild hand. I think it's one of these hands where it's really hard to put Barack on a jack, because I don't think he would actually, maybe Jack 10 he would raise on the flop to stack off, but I don't think he would with Queen Jack. And then like Jack 9, or like, it's very hard for him. His hand doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because if you think about his like sort of, I mean, unless he has sort of a hand like the one he had, like a bluff that backdoored into a straight, or maybe exactly Jack 9, but like I'm not even sure if 9-6 he would raise on the flop. So, and he wouldn't just raise like with an 8. So, and now we have Barack again going for it. Big bluff here. I think Melby, yeah, a queen is just way too good to fold heads up there. Barack could value bet a queen there, I think.
Almost dead even. I mean, that's part of the thing about having a chip lead, significant lead. Even when your opponent does crawl back or gets even or takes the lead, you still, you're still right there, right? And it's like, and then you usually can and this is, I mean,
yeah, we're going to see some fireworks here.
We're really trying to make this quick day for us today. We're heads up, and this is definitely one of the ones where this could get interesting. He has the ace of spades. Be curious here if you want to target. It's hard to make a pair. You check raise probably. Try to get the pot going. Maybe you get your opponent on for a jack or a draw. What do you think that the pros and cons to check raise or call there are?
I think it's a good check raise. I think, if we want to slow play one, this is a pretty good one. Wow, and now Barack had the open ender too. Like, whew. I just think you want to find ways to get money in the pot to run over a lot of 3x, and most importantly with the ace 3, when Barack is on the button, it's heads up, he can have a 3 a lot, and you really want to keep forcing the money in there. So big bet. In position, I can't imagine Barack does anything other than call. And, depending on the river, we could be going home, we could be playing for a while. Like, if it's an 8 or a king on the river, Barack is winning this thing. If it's a spade, who knows? Oh, he shoves.
Wow. Oh, ace 3, can it hold? 8 king spade, ace 3 in the lead, 70% favored. And it is
and there it is, ace 3 for Melby.
Melby is gonna be. We're gonna announce the winner here in a second. Here, let me put it in. The winner is Regis. There you go. Just because it could be over.
Here it is too. It could be over right now. King 10 suited versus 6s. Oh my God!
There it is. 6s, king 10. What a flop, though. I mean, this is pretty spectacular. Heads up to flop, bottom set, top 2. But there was only a million left. One hand too late, and it is still a Melby world, and it is going to be.
Well, Barack with the king might just be slamming it in here for 15 bigs. Yeah, and it still might just be a Melby world. Ooh, yeah, it's looking grim.
And this is the ace on the river. That is 100%. That is going to lock it up. That is your champion, the Brazilian Melby. Hats off. Cheers, man. Boa tarde, parabéns. That is to all the Brazilians out there. Congratulations. What a day. What an event. The first time winner of the GG Super Millions. There he is right there. He's on the gold bricks. He gets the money, gets the title. Super ranking points, very valuable. And Lucas, give me some thoughts on today. What were your takeaways from this final table? What stood out for you?
Well, I mean, we got to start with Melby, obviously. He won the big pot. Well, it shows how crazy tournament poker can be, because if he didn't hit that ace on the turn, he was probably going home in 9th place. He hit the ace, he got the chip lead, and I think he did a really great job with the chip lead. He was very aggressive. He found a few really nice 4-bet shoves, and he applied the pressure, but like didn't get too crazy out of line, and really was put in a good situation, and then did his best, and an impressive showing by him, and it's his first victory, and congratulations, well deserved, and a nice tournament.
Yeah, absolutely special stuff. Really fun to watch. Got to see a little of everything. Was a very spirited day. Some big pots early. We saw 7 million pots set over set, and we are here for another week of the Super Millions in the books. This is season 2023, episode 8. Next week we'll be back Tuesday, same time, same place. Lucas, thank you for the time. Appreciate the analysis. Think everyone enjoyed it, and everyone will be always rooting for you, man. It's a class act. Great to have you on. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you soon. Good luck on the tour. I really do appreciate it, and it was very, very insightful stuff from you today. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and thanks for having me on. I look forward to doing it again sometime.
I love it. Say hi to the fam. Say hi to your brothers, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next Tuesday, Super Millions next week, 2:45 Eastern. We'll see you there.
Great. Thanks.